Members of the public may watch the meeting live on oakville.ca or the town's YouTube channel. Agenda and materials are available on oakville.ca under Town Hall Agendas and Meetings. We have 4 discussion items today and 2 information items on the agenda. With that, we'll begin the meeting, and Lisa, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, we have 2 regrets, Devin Bright and Nora Lavelle.
And how many people online?
We have Councillor Giddings online.
Okay. Is there any pecuniary interest in this meeting? Hearing none, I'll call the meeting to order. And first item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting on December the 12th, 2024. Would somebody please move acceptance of the minutes? Okay, we have an acceptance. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Thank you. Passes. Now, discussion items. Item 4.1, the Oakville Transit Commission Annual Accessibility Plan for 2025.
Okay, everybody can hear me, okay? I am Joanne Phoenix. I am the Manager of Planning and Administrative Services with Oakville Transit. And I'm here today to give you an overview of our Oakville Transit Annual Accessibility Plan for 2025. So Oakville Transit does create an annual accessibility plan as a requirement under the AODA, and again also to support the town's accessibility plan. We were last here in June of 2024 when we presented the 2024 annual accessibility plan. And again, as I mentioned today, I'm here to provide an overview of the 2025 plan. Addressing barriers. So this is just a bit of a summary, and of course you were also provided with an actual copy of the plan, I believe, in your agendas. So I'm just going to highlight a few of the barriers that we have addressed previously. We completed actually the addition of route served and route numbers on our actual bus stop signs so that the customer can understand which route actually travels past that particular bus stop. That's to help improve with wayfinding. We also completed last year our 5-year business plan to help support future initiatives with Oakville Transit over the 2025 to 2029 timeframe. The annual business plan sets out a number of initiatives and actions and recommendations, and those items flow downwards to our annual service plan, which details how those items will be actioned each year. So while the business plan is the high-level sort of strategic vision for the next 5 years. Our annual service plan, which is not the same as the accessibility plan, actions those initiatives and visions from the 5-year plan. So we did complete that at the end of last year. That was approved by Council in November of 2024. We also had the launch of our real-time booking app and scheduling system for our ride-on-demand service in April of 2024. Again, that was with a new technology platform and new ways for the customer to book rides, including the app. We did implement a requirement for all drivers to lower conventional buses for all customers as of March 2024. And just a reminder, back in May of 2023, we had implemented free fares for youth and seniors, which meant that children, a total of the children, youth, and seniors 65 plus ride for free. And this is in addition to the other barriers and things that we continue to address on an ongoing basis. So that includes all of the features inside the vehicle that are requirements under the AODA, things like high color contrasts, including as from the image we have showing the yellow stanchions inside of the vehicle, identifying this particular vehicle does have a step at the back, so there's a highlight in yellow contrast of the actual step and stair. Again, our entire fleet are low floor accessible buses with ramps. That is 100% of the fleet. The fleet also has audio and visual next stop announcements, again, the entire fleet. We continue to address issues of snow clearing at bus stops. That this particular winter was a challenge for everybody, including Oakville Transit. But we continue to try to improve the level of service that's being applied to the clearing of snow at stops. As well, we had been in the past, and we continue to look at and maintain standardization of bus stop pole stop placement at every stop, so that, again, it assists with wayfinding and orientation. When a customer is looking for the bus stop, they know that the actual stop pole will be in the same position at each stop. So some of the actions that we have planned for 2025, we will actually be introducing free caravan service as of May 1st, 2025. Given that youth, children, and seniors 65 plus already ride for free, this essentially means incorporating adult caravan customers into that mix. We have begun some preliminary communication on that. We will be having a direct outreach with our customers in April, and that's to provide them instructions on how to use their Presto card to get the free ride. And again, so some additional information coming on that, as I said, May 1st, 2025. We are also going to begin implementing the first initiatives from the 5-year business plan. In this year, that includes some service changes and routing changes to some of our prime routes. And basically, that's being done to set the foundation for one of the recommendations in the 5-year business plan was setting the foundation for a future frequent transit network, establishing those east-west, north-south connections through the town where you would have a frequent level of service, and again, streamlining those routes as much as possible. So in July of this year, we will be implementing some changes to Route 1, 5, 24, 6, and the 190 as a corollary to that. And again, we have not yet started our public communication on all of those changes, but again, it's straightening those out, increasing the service frequency. So Route 1 is a route that travels up and down Trafalgar Road. Route 5 is the service that runs across Dundas, and we are actually sending it further along Dundas to the east. Route 24 is tied into that because of the extension we're doing to Route 5. It means Route 24 will change. And then some service frequency enhancements for Route 6. And Route 90 also addresses an area that Route 5 will no longer be serving. So all of that is to come for July 2025. Sorry, just one moment. We also continue with our ongoing bus stop infrastructure improvements. That includes adding concrete landing pads at bus stops, as well as additional shelters and replacing shelters. That is also an annual program. I have mentioned before at this committee that we were looking to develop a formal travel training program. Oakville Transit has been doing what I'll term an informal ad hoc level of travel training for for more than a few years, many years. But it was never a formal program. So we are developing a formal program. We are also hoping in 2026 to maybe be able to add additional resources who would take care of the implementation of that program. But it's looking at developing a formal program that will teach people who are either newcomers to Oakville, who have just never used the bus before in Oakville, or also caravan customers, for those who might be able to also use conventional services, how they would go about doing that. And as I said, we're developing that program this year. And that will include a travel training guide, a presentation, as well as setting up the process and the procedures for delivering the program. When I said that we've been doing informal travel training, we've been doing that through outreach programs over the years. So we do that with high school students. We've done it with various senior groups coming out of the community center programs. So that will also continue, but we'll also have resources to be able to share with them in addition. Tied into that is the update of our Magnus cards. So Magnus cards are learning cards that are available through an app. They were originally developed to assist people with autism with their daily tasks, but they also function as a how to use transit. Again, a valuable tool for customers that maybe have never used transit before. It's really how-to steps. How do I get on the bus? How do I plan a trip to use the bus? Where do I stand when I'm at the bus stop? What do I do when I get on the bus? How am I paying a fare? All of those basic how-tos. So we're updating. We've had those cards for a number of years. We're updating those cards, making sure they're relevant, they're still timely, updating some of the imaging to go along with those. And those will also form part of our travel training program. We also have a project this year to replace the real-time message signs at the Oakville GO station, Sheridan College, and the Bronte GO with new digital signs. The signs that are in place there today are older style LED signs. So our project is to put in new digital signs. Again, the technology has changed greatly over the years. It also allows us the ability to put in service notices and service information in addition to the real-time bus arrival information. Now, one of the things, the presentation was provided to you in your agenda as well, but I wanted to add a few photos that came after I had submitted the presentation, just to highlight some of our new electric buses. For those who may not be aware, Oakville Transit now does have actually a total of 30 electric buses in our fleet. 15 of those are the smaller capacity vehicles that we use for our ride-on-demand and caravan service, and that is the image of the vehicle that's shown right now. It is best described, or most often described, as the cute bus, and as I said, we have 15 of those. And then just this year, we launched our first group of 40-foot electric buses. One is shown here with our special We're Electric wrap. So again, this is our first foray into the large capacity electric buses. We did have an event as well with some invited guests from the province who also assisted in funding the electric buses. And I'll show you one more picture. So the one picture is with the special wrap, and that was just to highlight the introduction of the vehicles. This is an image of the electric bus just as it would be seen out on the road. There is a small decal at the back that indicates that it is an electric bus. Those are in service, those are on the road. In addition, the ones with the special wrap that say we're electric are also on the road, so you might see those around the community. And that was all that I had for you today. If you have any feedback that you wish to provide, I can of course incorporate it into this year's plan, but as well, if there's anything else that's sort of maybe a longer term question or initiative, I can also make sure that it gets, sorry, I'm losing my voice, also make sure that it gets included in for next year's plan as well. And I'll just say, this is my last opportunity to present to the AAC. I am retiring at the end of May. So I've enjoyed my time. I served as a staff representative on the committee for many years. I've enjoyed my time immensely. And yeah, this is the last time you'll see me present here. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Joanne. Are there any questions? Go ahead.
Thanks, Joanne, and congratulations on your retirement. I just had a question with respect to, I was in the report, I see that you have like stats on total annual bookings and the hours and that and kilometers. And I also see for the specialized services similar stats. And I was wondering, is there any year-over-year stats to show, like from 23 to 24, where we can determine, like, you know, if it's rise or higher or lower,
Yes.
what the uptake is?
Yes, and I can get you some additional I can give you through the clerk, I can provide you with a 5-year overview. Total system ridership is the highest it has ever been.
Okay, that's good. I just wondered kind of
Four
what we're
point-
looking at.
Yeah, 4.9 million total system boardings last year. Again, that's a historical high for us in terms of total boardings. Again, a large increase in youth ridership as a result of the free service initiative. So yes, it's great that we're pushing the boundaries on ridership and growing the system as we are, which is also why the role of the 5-year business plan to guide that next phase and to set that foundation for that future growth is important, and the initiatives out of that.
And is it a similar increase for the specialized services, or?
It is not as large a
Okay,
percentage
but-
increase, but it is growing as well.
Oh, good. Good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, it was our on-demand, ride-on-demand and caravan service coming out of COVID was a little slower to respond overall as compared to conventional service, but yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Giddings, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Joanne, I'd just like to thank you very much for your assistance and your caring and your work over the years. We've had many discussions and we've had many issues to deal with, and I've always enjoyed your calm, cool, collected way and your professionalism and your true sense of caring, especially for the in terms of the accessibility side. So have a wonderful retirement.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Are there any other questions? If not, I've got one. Joanne, this is something that has always disturbed me a little bit. It's a coordination of service. You're doing a much better job of cleaning off the pads for the buses, etc. But you have to go on the sidewalk from A to B to get to the bus station, and that is still a problem.
Are you saying from a winter clearance perspective,
Yes.
Snow? Well, one of the things I can say is, again, I mentioned that we're always looking for opportunities to improve, right? How do we clear the snow from the stop and coordinate the snow clearing from the sidewalk? One of our challenges has always been as well, the road gets cleared.
Yep.
If we go out before the road gets cleared, then the road plow will go by and just
know.
fill in the space again.
It's called the windrow. I
So,
know.
exactly. We have to be very careful about the timing of when we action our contractor. Today, the service is provided through a contractor. We have to be careful of the timing of when we ask that contractor to go out and begin clearing, because we don't want to ask them to go out, clear, and then have to come back and clear again. That does happen. It does happen because ultimately the snow has to be removed. We try to minimize that as much as possible. But the town is also looking at ways to bring that in-house to with our Roads and Works Department. So that will allow for better coordination. And I believe that's an initiative we're working on for the next winter season.
Yeah, my coordination is not so much to do with the roads.
It's the
It's
sidewalk.
to do with the access
And
to the sidewalks and access from the sidewalk to the bus stop.
Yes, and I think that working conjunctively with Roads and Works and having that work done together might improve that situation, absolutely.
Okay, Joanne, thank you very much, and also congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your retirement. Believe me, retirement is not all it's cracked up to be. You'll have to find out something else to do or you'll drive yourself nuts. Are there any more questions? Hearing none, I would ask for acceptance of the report as submitted,
So moved.
or summary. Who's going to motion, please? Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on to item 4.2, which is the 2024 accomplishment and the 2025 work plan for this committee. Andrea, I think you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. I'm happy to speak with you today about the committee's 2024 accomplishments and the proposed 2025 work plan. I do, of course, invite questions throughout the presentation or after, whichever you'd like. And I really do look forward to hearing your input. So as everybody knows, the mandate of the committee is to provide advice to Town Council on accessibility initiatives to address requirements under the AODA in promoting accessibility for residents of all abilities. The goal of the committee is to advise Town Council in identifying and eliminating barriers to people with disabilities about town programs, services, initiatives, and facilities. So this committee did have several notable achievements in 2024, which included several town initiatives, consultations, projects, community awareness, and collaboration. So the first one that I wanted to speak to is one of the bigger initiatives last year, and that was the committee's involvement in the development of the 2024 to 2029 multi-year accessibility plan. Built from existing plans, it did involve meaningful engagement, and the plan was developed to support the town's commitment to being an inclusive workplace and community where everyone feels they belong. It highlighted what we were proud of, trends and the community feedback received, and the town's ongoing commitments, new initiatives, and areas of focus. Staff will continue to provide annual updates on this plan, and consultation and engagement will be ongoing with staff, the community, and of course the AAC in meeting its commitments. So the committee also provided valuable input and insight into various town initiatives and projects, including updates from our facility services team on the continuous improvements being made to town amenities and areas. The committee provided input on the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility multi-year plan for 2024 to 2028, which will be implemented over the next 4 years. You also provided input to the accessibility map updates that I'll be speaking to later on in this meeting. And of course, consultation on the initiatives, programs, and services from Oakville Transit and measures being taken to identify, prevent, and remove barriers. One great update which we received from Joanne tonight. You also provided input and valuable insight into 2026 municipal election accessible voting initiatives. You provided input to facilities and planning services staff with respect to the Kerr Village and Brawny Village streetscape studies, and also an accessibility update on the new plans for Fire Hall 9. And of course, the extraordinary updates that were made to the Oakville Universal Design Standards 3.0. The OUDS, it's a made for Oakville standard, mandatory for all construction projects at town-owned, leased, operated facilities, including redevelopment plans, new construction, additions, renovations, and capital replacements. And lastly, in 2024, this committee was consulted on the Transportation Master Plan, which serves as a blueprint for future transportation improvements in Oakville. Updates will focus on building walkable, cycle, and transit-friendly neighborhoods integrated with accessible transportation choices for all residents. And of course, staff and committee members continued to seek opportunities and increase community awareness and collaboration in 2024 through participating in the following events and raising awareness through social media. That included a call to action to meet the deadline of an Accessible Ontario by 2025. I know this committee has had a lot of feedback with respect to that, and we do appreciate it, and we'll continue to push forward with respect to that. Providing input on the plain language guide standard with Accessibility Standards Canada. We heard about the electric kick scooters pilot program extension with the MTO. And some of the members were able to get a firsthand experience with the Oakville Trafalgar Community Facility Tour, which was in May of last year, and that won the Rick Hansen Foundation Award. So that was a great opportunity for the members. And we also celebrated National Accessibility Awareness Week, the Town of Oakville 2024 Community Spirit Awards, and of course, every year we do celebrate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. This committee showed dedication and provided valuable contributions towards building a more inclusive and accessible community in Oakville. Your insight and effort make a meaningful difference, and we do appreciate it. And with that in mind, let's look to 2025 to see what plans we have for the upcoming year. The committee will continue to work with town staff to promote awareness and ensure barriers to accessibility are identified and eliminated for improved accessibility in the community. Planned initiatives that the committee will be consulted on include the diversity and inclusion initiatives related to the town's IDEA multi-year plan. We'll be hearing again at this meeting today the accessibility map refresh project update and updates to the town's procurement policy to reflect amended requirements to the accessible customer service standard and the integrated accessibility standards regulation. And the committee will continue to be consulted on all town construction, renovation, and plan projects. This includes the Town Square project, which we'll hear an update from tonight from staff, Downtown Cultural Hub, and park redevelopments. We'll continue to hear from facility services, capital projects accessibility updates for accessible improvements at facilities, and any updates, if required, to the OUDS version 3.0. And of course, while we unfortunately won't have Joanne with us, we will continue to hear from Oakville Transit, and the staff from Transit will continue to seek feedback and guidance from this committee on their annual accessibility plan and other Oakville Transit accessibility initiatives. We look forward to consultation on accessibility-related areas of focus of the Parks, Recreation, and Library Master Plan. And as I mentioned previously when we were speaking to our 2024 accomplishments, staff will continue to provide an annual accessibility status update to the town's 2024 to 2029 multi-year accessibility plan. This plan will continue to serve as a roadmap outlining areas of focus and actions that will continue to drive the town forward to meet or exceed requirements under the AODA. And just as we've done in past years, the committee will work together alongside town staff to promote community awareness by participating in various town and local events, both virtual and in person. We will continue to recognize and raise awareness on important events, such as the International Day for Persons with Disabilities and National Accessibility Week. And we will take every opportunity there is to continue to work with the town and region on various initiatives and legislation consultations with the province. So I once again wanted to extend my sincere thanks to this committee for the hard work and effort that they did put in 2024. And I really do look forward to continuing to work alongside you for 2025. And I do welcome any questions at this time.
Are there any questions from the committee? Councillor Giddings, I'm sorry, I forget about you. Go ahead.
Everybody does, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your detailed report, Andrew. A quick question for you. I know about the involvement of the town with municipal elections. what about provincial and federal? We seem to be going through a few of these lately. What's our involvement with that, with those elections?
It's a great question, Councillor Reddings. Through you, Mr. Chair. Municipalities don't have any real involvement in provincial or federal elections. We do try and make resources and information available through for our residents, whether it be online. We also work with returning officers to ensure facility availability for voting locations.
All right, thank you. And so the provincial, it's always been a question for me. You know, the provincial AODA legislation has been in place celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, and I still find it incredibly frustrating. Number of issues like provincial elections where you would think they would be held to as high a standard as the municipal elections are. So thank you for that. And being the 20th anniversary, any updates from the province? I know that this committee had made a number of recommendations, and those recommendations went through council and were forwarded to the province as items of concern. Any feedback on those at all?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, no feedback at this time, but given the timing of our next meeting, halfway through 2025, I would be happy to commit to bringing a report to this committee with any possible updates at all as to where we are.
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Andrew, I'd like to
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'd like to ask a corollary to the questions of Councillor Giddings. Has there been anything done about extending the AODA beyond 2025? Because first of all, they've not met their commitments, in my opinion, hardly at all. But is there any talk at the provincial level of extending it?
Unfortunately not, Mr. Chair. There's been no conversation, no formal messaging that I'm aware of. But again, I will be happy to bring a report to this committee at our June meeting, and I will absolutely dig deep to see what information I can bring at that time.
Because I think that's rather important. The town is doing a great job, and you're looking at 2025 to 29. Which says we're going to extend what we're doing in this community. But now we're out on our own by the sound of it because there's no more provincial legislation. It dies this year.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions? If there are no further questions, I ask the committee for acceptance of the report. All in favor? First of all, say who's going to recommend it. Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye, please. Aye. Okay, moving on to item 4. This is an important one to me because this is where I live. This is a report on the new town square. Please come forward and give us your report. It looks very interesting.
A little bit more vertically challenged than Andrea. Good afternoon. My name is Carmen Huey. I'm a landscape architect in the Parks and Open Space Department, and I am very happy to share with you an update on the town square design. I know that it was presented to Accessibility Advisory Committee back in 2019, so good to be back and with some exciting news ahead. We will go over the background and the consultation that has gone into the design to date. We'll also go over the delegation by the residents' associations. There were 4 of them. I'll then share with you the town square design concept, the design and construction schedule, accessibility improvements, which are of great interest, and we'll have a discussion and love to hear your feedback, and also talk about next steps. So here in front of you is a slide that shows the background of the project to date. So it did start in 2018, and between 2018 and 2019, we had extensive public consultation with 4 residents associations, Brosco Property Management, the Town Square retailers, the BIA, Ward 3 councillors, and the mayor. We had 3 public meetings about the square, And certainly we presented the revised landscape concept to the Accessibility Advisory Committee in 2019 and then to Council where it was approved. Shortly after that, the project was tendered in 2020. Unfortunately, we were over budget, so we had to place the project on hold, and it's been on hold up until 2024. So we're really excited that the project is resuming now, and shortly after it resumed in the latter part of 2024, there is a delegation to Council concerning Town Square. And so I'll be sharing with you some of these changes which we feel are really for the better, both from accessibility and urban design. And in 2024 and 2025, our plan is really to finalize the design concept, undertake detailed design, and go to tender for construction in October of 2025. Just a little context for where Town Square is. It's at the southeast quadrant of George Street and Lakeshore Road East, and it spans from Lakeshore Road to Robinson Street to the south. And here is just a snapshot of what Town Square looks like, looking north to Lakeshore Road, and the promenade is to the left of the slide, and it continues down to Robinson Street. Of course, the Town Square does follow building design standards and guidelines. The AODA accessibility standards for the built environment are integrated into the design, as well as the Town of Oakville's guidelines for design of accessible facilities and the Ontario Building Code. This is a side-by-side slide that shows what the 2019 design looked like versus the 2025 refined design concept. As you can see at a very high level, the 2019 design does feature, and I'm going to try to use this pointer. It does feature a very significant water feature along Lakeshore Road East, as well as a planting buffer. There's also a raised planter along the promenade. So the access points into the square were definitely more limited back in 2019 than they are today in the new design, which is to your right-hand side. I will go over in detail some of the accessibility features as we proceed with the slides. But that's just an overview of the 2019 to 2025 design. You can see in the approved design at a high level, these boxes with the yellow boxes with the purple outline indicate the areas around the square where we've made such improvements for barrier-free design. So a quick overview of the Town Square design itself. I'm going to describe in detail what the Town Square entails, and then on the next slide, we will take a deeper dive into the barrier-free access elements. So on this slide, you can see Lakeshore Road East is to the top of the page. So we're looking north here. So this here is Lakeshore Road sidewalk, and then it seamlessly blends into the promenade down here, and the Town Square itself is located here. So you're all familiar with the lawn that is currently in the Town Square. It has been slightly enlarged, and the walkways around the lawn have also been slightly widened for better access around the lawn. We've also got stair access, which is currently there and is being maintained. And we've added additional steps down here along the proposed water feature, and as well around the corner from the other side of the water feature. There's also an accessible ramp access between the tree planters here, as well as an accessible point here. So there's quite a few options for access around the square. There is a very distinctive water feature that's been significantly scaled down per the Residents Association's delegation, which creates a more accessible access into the space. Also, there are these tree planters that have been bisected. In the previous design, it was contiguous, and now there is an additional access point, as I mentioned. And much of the other elements have really remained the same along the promenade, but along here is quite a significant change. So these gray bands here are amphitheater steps seating. So they're like seat walls, which I'll show you in some precedent photos. They are seat walls that flank the lakeshore sidewalk, and as well step right down to the square. So it's a very friendly, accessible space where people can linger and be seated and have social interactions. So next I will go over, I know it's a very busy map, so please bear with me. But what I'll do is I'll just explain to you the pedestrian circulation, which is all in red. The vehicular obviously is along Lakeshore Road East. The barrier-free access points I had mentioned in the previous slide are indicated in yellow. So these are accessible without, at a maximum of 5%. There's also potential rest locations indicated in the purple circles with the green outline. And there are accessible seating locations that meet our design standards in the purple circles with the red outline. What we have achieved is a 20% minimum of accessible seating locations around the square. And the number of, please don't count the number of circles per se, because there are certainly a few more seating locations that we aren't quantifying bit by bit, but this is an overview of where those opportunities are, and the rest locations are all along the promenade as well. So you can see in this diagram that there are many locations for pedestrian access. So along Lakeshore Sidewalk, along the promenade, both ways in all cases, and into the square, and along the square and around the square. So there's many modes of ingress and egress. We also took some time, this is a conceptual design I should mention, and we are going to detail design after we get your feedback. But I should mention that we have started thinking through some of the detailed design elements that would make this space accessible and functional. So I've indicated them by letters. So A represents the tactile domes that would be at the top of the amphitheater seating steps, but also the steps themselves. So that refers to these steps, these ones, as well as these ones. I mentioned the barrier-free access points. The seating, we have custom seating opportunities. They're flexible and fixed. So I mentioned there's seating opportunities here. So this one at the top is actually a standalone seat that also serves as a barrier to the a safety barrier, if you will, into the stepped amphitheater seating. The amphitheater seating is located here, and there's also a custom design accessible seating down here near the letter D, where we would have a transfer point at the ends of the benches, and even in the middle of this row of benches, there would be a place where you could transfer onto the bench seating itself. We also have accessible walkways all around the square, which makes it a lot more improved than the previous plan. We've also straightened the lawn on the north side of the square from the previous 2019 design, which makes for an easier path of travel. And finally, we have illumination around the square that is enhanced above what we previously had. And I'm just going to go through these points. So there's illumination here, and I'm just going to point to every single one. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then, not to mention, there's some ambient lighting around the square as well as lighting from Lakeshore Road. So that is an overview of the barrier-free design that we've integrated into the town square. And I should mention that the promenade does extend all the way south to Robinson Street, as you can see here. And again, the barrier-free access point into the square is here, as well as down here it is also, this is a ramp that goes down to Robinson Street. So the promenade is fully accessible from Lakeshore Road all the way to Robinson Street. And there are view corridors into Town Square, which makes accessibility quite easy and pleasant as well. Here are some renderings that show what the promenade looks like. So you can see it's quite a generous width with some custom seat benches here that are cast in concrete with some wood slats on top. So they are not barrier, they don't have backless, or they do not have backs to these benches, but there are opportunities for informal rest locations all the way along the promenade. So this image shows the promenade looking south to Robinson, and the one in the right-hand corner shows the promenade looking north to Lakeshore Road. These are some images of some of the elements I'd spoken about. So the amphitheater seating is represented by this image in the top left. The tactile stainless steel domes are represented by this image. I neglected to mention that along the promenade there is a 70% tonal contrast between the pavers, and there's illumination around the square. There's also planter seat walls adjacent to the walkways. And these two images below just generally conceptually show what we have in mind for the the potential rest location seating along the promenade, and also accessible seating along the south side of the square. So the key accessible features in summary are the accessible walkway connections between all the proposed town square features and around the square, additional barrier-free access points that we had created by removing the stramps. And the term stramps refers to a combination of stairs and ramps in function that are no longer accessible nor building code compliant. So we have removed those outright from the existing square, which makes it a much more accessible space. We also have talked about the tactile warning on the edge of the steps and seat walls, the 70% tonal contrast between the pavers, the 20% seating opportunities that are accessible for equitable seating, as well as the custom leaf benches that include additional potential rest locations, illumination, and signage that conforms to the AODA and Town of Oakville Universal Design Standards. So the next steps, we will be presenting to Heritage Advisory Committee next week. We'll proceed with a detailed design once we hear feedback from the Accessibility Advisory Committee and the Heritage Advisory Committee. We'll then plan to tender in May and award in June, with construction in October to May of 2026. So it's about an 8-month construction period for the project. So thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions or feedback you might have.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions? Yes.
Sorry, I had a question. Are there any public accessible washrooms going to be incorporated into the square?
Through the chair. So there are publicly accessible washrooms currently in the Brosco property. I am not, there won't be any new ones in the square. Thanks.
Those washrooms, by the way, have been upgraded recently. Are there, yes.
Hi, I have a question regarding the amphitheater style seating. In the picture that you did show, it doesn't show any handrails. I'm just curious if that would be added in to the stair locations of those.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you. Through the chair, there will not be any handrails added to the amphitheater seating. They are stepped, I believe it is 0.5 meters, so it's about knee height tall. So they step down at knee height the knee height. So there is no requirement for handrails for that. There is steps beside the water feature, and we have removed the handrail from that. It was previously proposed, but ultimately decided that the way we design the grading, that handrails would not be required.
Other question?
Hi. Just regarding the stairs, because I already frequent that area a lot. So right now, they're very blended as one thing. So is the idea to also, you have your promenade with the different colored tiling, or whatever you want to call it. But is that a plan for the stairs as well, or are they going to stay one color? I understand you have the tactile at the top, but.
Yeah. Thank you. Through the chair, so the promenade does involve tonal contrast, different colored paving. The details and color of the amphitheater seating is to be determined, but what we would envision is a color that complements the promenade pavers, so probably the darker tone, and then we would have the stainless steel domes on top, so that there's a detection of sorts approaching the amphitheater steps.
Okay, to follow up though, like there are stairways still being built into the square area, right?
Correct.
To the north on Lake Shore there, and
Yes.
so
yes.
is the idea to have that all one tone with just the tactile at the top?
Yes, I think that is the vision. We haven't gotten into detailed design yet, but we're happy to include any feedback this committee has on the design of those stairs.
Okay. For me personally, having low vision, stairs are a nightmare when they're all the same color. Because you look down and it's just all blended together. Their contrast is appreciated. It's somehow that each step is designated as a step. Again, I don't have the full picture of what you're presenting, of course, because you haven't planned everything yet. But I find if stairs are one solid color, whatever it is, or cement or whatever, and that's what's there now. Now, I understand the grading may be different, but the stairs, right, I avoid the stairs there because they're always, when you look down, they're all the same. It looks like a ramp.
Through the chair, thank you for your feedback. That is actually really helpful, and I'm very confident we could work in a detail, a design detail into the stair that we have that contrast. So as an example, whether it is having it, I'm just going to use an example of maybe it's dark gray on the step, but where the tactile strip is, maybe we can make it a contrasting color, like whether it's a lighter gray with the stainless steel domes, and then you'll then, when you go to the next step down, it's charcoal gray, and so it's almost like an alternating color band. But that is very helpful advice that we can integrate.
Are there any further questions? Then I pose a question myself. It looks great. It's big improvement from 2018. However, I do have a question. It looks to me like it's going to interfere with the commercial operations of the restaurants around there. Has that been taken into consideration?
Through the chair to the chair. Yes, we've actually been in consultation with the businesses around the square, and we also will be undertaking, we have recently undertaken consultation with the BIA and all the business owners there. So everyone is aware of it, and we are fully committed to communicating regularly with everyone, but especially for the tenants around the square, because restaurants certainly will be impacted, as well as some of the offices or the spa, for instance. There's different businesses that will be impacted, and so we'll have a communications plan that's quite robust, and we'll be in regular communications with the contractor during construction as well.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
So just to follow up on that, so are the patios around there going to be integrated, or is it kind of gone?
Integrated into the new plan?
Into the plans, that there's space for, because if you take away space to build the patios for the summer, because right now that whole square is all patios, right? In the
Right.
summer.
Thank you. So through the chair, we will not be removing patios. That is something that we knew would be very sensitive. So we're working with the current geometry and layout, and that has been also vetted through with the tenants. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Then I ask for a motion from the committee to recommend that the report of March 11th, 2025, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong scale here, entitled Town Square from the Parks and Open Space Department be received, and that universal design features in the Town Square project be endorsed. Do I have a motion? Okay, anybody, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. That brings us
Thank you.
down to item 4.4 on the agenda, the accessibility map refresh. Andrea.
Hello again. Thank you. So if the committee recalls, at our meeting in June of last year, we consulted with this committee to begin and update the accessibility map to give it a refresh. We wanted to ensure that it continues to serve as a valuable resource for residents and visitors, enabling them to easily locate and access amenities that support diverse needs. So staff from across the town participated in this review, and I just wanted to highlight the staff involved. So that was communications, creative design, facility services, municipal enforcement, strategic business services, and many more departments. And we have completed the refresh of the map. And so just to highlight a couple areas. The update included reviewing and updating existing data pertaining to accessibility features, incorporating new data sources and information on accessible amenities, designing and developing user-friendly interfaces for the accessibility map with input from communication experts to enhance the customer experience. And also, which I'll just speak briefly on because I do have Frank Goner on the call as well. He is the supervisor of strategic business services. He's going to walk us through a demo. But I did wanted to note that there is a new base map layer that we used for the map. And this base map layer was designed to improve mapping workflow while prioritizing accessibility. It does follow WCAG 2.0 standards, ensuring a 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio between solid colors and non-text elements, and a 3 to 1 ratio for user interface components. So with a clean, minimalist design, the base map enhances readability through higher contrast, enlarged labels, and label halos. So that was a lot of big words in my opinion, and some ratios that it will be obviously much better to see it in person. So again, I do welcome Frank on with us now, and he's going to show a bit of a demo of the new map. Over to you, Frank.
Thanks, Andrea. Can everyone, I'm just going to share my screen. Can everyone see my screen, Andrea?
Not yet, Frank.
Not yet? Okay. No.
Okay, looks like it's working.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Andrea, and thank you everyone for having me. I think I first met some of you about 6, 7 years ago when we did the first site. And since that time, the accessibility site has actually been a very, very popular site. And the past year alone, we've had 1,700 views on the accessibility site, or about 5 views per day. So it is actually a very well used site, which is great. And with the change in tools that we have or updates, we've now been able to update our web mapping applications to make it more AODA compliant, as well as our vendor who's Toronto based. They created a brand new base map for accessibility. So we've actually taken that accessibility base map. So the base map is the underlying information that you see, such as, the water, the roads, the buildings, and so on. And they have actually updated it to make it more accessible. Okay. The nice thing about this accessibility site is that if whenever data gets updated, we automatically see it on this one site here as well. So if there's like new roads that get generated or if new parking lots are added into the town, within a matter of whenever, by the time we get the request in from my team, this data information automatically gets updated. So the new site, as you can see, is being built with communications. We worked on it very closely with them to keep a very consistent look and feel to everything. And the user, again, we kept the same functionality as before, where there's different tabs based on what you want to look at. So for example, if you're interested in all the parking, and if I go over to parking locations, like more in a downtown area, and zoom in, the parking information will pop up. I just have to, here we go. So here we can now start seeing the parking information, and we have listed the handicap parking, the accessible parking locations, as well as the regular parking locations. And with all of these, if clicking on it, we can then start seeing information about what is actually available. So here are some accessible parking spots, and we can see what the daily rate is and where the location is. We've also done very similar things with playgrounds and parks. You'll notice that the colors right here, we're using pink for the parks. And this was feedback that we got from the Accessible Advisory Committee about 7 years ago of colors that will really help people that are visually impaired. And again, if we were to click on something, we can see the information in it, and we can see if there's any adaptive swings, if there's an accessible washroom at this one location, and so on. So we have all this type of information directly inside of the main database that we can get access to. Okay. And then exactly the same thing, we have the same information on town trails. And on the town trails, we can see what the average slope is and the width and the trail surface. Other features that we have added into it is the ability to search by address or a place name. So if I type in Trafalgar, 1225 Trafalgar Road, we can see it searching for Oakville, but also areas outside of Oakville too. You'll also notice that the speed is now greatly increased as well, so it runs much faster and much smoother. Other little items that a user can do is measure. So if you wanted to figure out how long of a walk it might be from Trafalgar Road over to Town Hall, there is a measure tool, and you can see it would be roughly about 250 meters. So these are handy things. Okay. Or if you like, you would be able to change the base map as well and turn on other layers of information. So this is the new accessible site that we've created, and we're just looking for feedback. Anyone have any questions?
Any questions from the committee? Yes, Councillor Giddings.
You mentioned the number of people accessing this or searching the database, and it was like 7, 8, 9, 10 a day type of number.
Yeah, it was about 5 users per day.
Any idea what they're looking for and how they hear about this?
That I do not have on me. We might be able to get that through communications, through some other backend tools, but right now it just kind of tells us that it's about 5 per day.
All right, yeah, I'd be curious if that came back to us, in an email, just wondering what drives the people there and how, if it's very useful, should we be promoting it more through our various channels?
Yes, that's actually a great idea. Because that's something that I would actually be very interested in like who's using it, what time of year are they using it, or time of day they're using it mostly. So I can work with Andrea with that.
Yeah,
No, that would be great, and we could even have a thanks for checking us out. What do you think of it? What can we do better? What do you use it for? Type of thing.
Yeah, we can, through the chair, Andrea, we can actually put in like a survey. So if people would like to fill out a survey on how they're using it, we can always do a survey as well that's like directly into it.
absolutely.
Excellent.
If I may, through you, Mr. Chair, just to add to that, I do know communications has the tools to determine if people are visiting this site through oakville.ca or if it's through a Google search. So we can definitely provide that information to the committee through a memo. And on that note as well, I just wanted to mention that next steps, following this consultation, we will be conducting some outreach and communication for both the public and staff as appropriate. So we'll be sure to include that piece about the survey if we can.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept this March 11th report on the accessibility advisory map be received. Okay, it's been moved. Anybody, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes. That brings us down to item 5. There are 2 information items, and this information will be received by the committee. With that, the date and time of the next meeting is Thursday, June the 12th, again in the council chambers where I can be mayor. Thank you, everybody. It's been a great meeting, and I appreciate all your input and your efforts. And thank you very much. And Joanne, again, congratulations on your retirement. Have you got something to do? I hope that keeps you occupied because you got to find. I know, Joanne, because I retired in 2007 and drove myself crazy for 6 months until I found something to do, and I got very active. Okay, thank you, everybody. And with that, I will. Oh, this Councillor Giddings.
No, just waving goodbye.
With that, I declare the motion or the meeting adjourned until the 12th of June. Have everybody a nice spring, and I hope we get warm weather. It appears it's going to get cold again. Thank you, everybody.